I think the biggest one will actually be the collection of a lot of data. You will be using machines incorporating a lot of sensors to pull in the information to make the reporting far more accurate than it's historically been. So that's the primary thing. But for me, there's always the governance issue and the ethics of the AI, because if you have a massive reputational risk to your company, it will lower your ESG score. And it will also lower your share price, because if you have a poor reputation and a lot of bad publicity, it doesn't really help you. And that's what people have to also see it in a far more holistic manner than just it's one score at the end of the day. That's what people tend to forget with ESG. It's an ongoing thing. We use AI, but I prefer the term machine learning because it's a lot simpler. We use NLP, natural language processing, and we use that to gauge sentiment from statements from management of companies. So that's one aspect of it. We also use it in terms of products that we buy. So we use it to monitor companies, and there are web scrapers going out there that will pick up keywords that we have given it, and they will collect information and supply information so we can understand how risk is evolving within companies, and if there's something that we have to watch within a company, it brings things to our attention. So it's a tool that allows a smaller team to do a lot more work than usual. And we also know that the ESG ratings people that we buy information from will also be using machine learning to collate NLP to collate information on the companies themselves. First major framework that's come out from the European Union, and they propose a company should have an ethics committee, and it should be made up of people from across the company doing different jobs. The one thing I found really interesting with that, for example, is the impact of AI on human resources and hiring of people and filtering hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of applications using computers. And those have biases within their software by mistake, because ultimately a human created them. So companies have to be very careful when they're using machines and artificial intelligence to understand the biases that actually exist with the product that they have, and the possibility of errors, which can also exist. So it's really important. When I think of corporate affairs, the first thing is I can think of it as in press releases. So I think that's really obvious in ChatGPT. But I also look at it that myself, I've seen rudimentary, so maybe ChatGPT is a lot better, but you kind of get a feel immediately if it's been written by a human or if it's been written by a machine. And I don't think at a certain point it's a very good look. When people get used to it, it's almost like the first PowerPoints that used a Microsoft layout that they supplied. It looked really good until everyone realized Microsoft was supplying them, and there were 10 of them. And then it kind of fell flat on its face. And people had to get a graphics designer in. I think it's going to be much the same. That's my feeling. But I might be very wrong. The machines might be a lot cleverer than that. And people will learn to use them a lot better with time. I think that their biggest thing should be looking at the reputational risks of their technologies. And it's not this direct, we think of ESG and we think of this, maybe this reporting function. People should be looking very much at the impact on the company itself in terms of its employees, in its community, And that's the key thing from ESG. It's not for me, it's not a scoring thing. It's about people and the environment, and people should be looking at a lot of that. So it comes back to understanding the ethics of it and the impact and the reputational risk to their company in the both short and long term.